Bases dropped on a new round of soccer down here. It's a Wall Pass Wednesday. It is a very, very busy Wednesday. It is midweek, so that means we've got a midweek Whiparound, patent pending trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later. And we've got that. We got a full slate of games. We got Jason coming up around 9:30 to talk about Atlanta United and NYC tonight at Mercedes-Benz. We'll get into broadcast plans about that. If Dylan Butler isn't doing any high school stuff, he'll join us at 10. We'll take the tour of what's going through Dylan's mind. If we end up with a women's national team announcement, more than just the cameo that was announced on the Today Show on NBC, we may send out the bat signal to Bart Keeler for the final half hour. We've got transfers. We've got news. We've got all these kinds of things. So
let me talk to you.
All right, opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. QR code is right there, middle of the screen. Don't forget, use the code Sucker down here 15. You get 15% off of your purchase, and they in turn take 10% and reinvest it into youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Jarrett, since we're in a no dilly, no dally zone, do you just want to go ahead and start?
Let's get stupid.
All right, let's get stupid. So we're going to get stupid and go through all of the games, and there's a lot of them. So once again, the composite on the juice boxes is brought to us by our friends at Odds Portal. And we need to get them to sponsor the show in some manner, way, shape, or form. We're going to save, like I said, we're going to save Atlanta United and NYC for later. 7:39 kick. It is CF Montreal and Nashville SC. I've given up on them converting back to the Impact.
It's not going to happen.
I know, damn it. CF Montreal is a plus 172. They're a home dog at Stade Saputo. Your draw is a plus 227. Nashville SC is a plus 159. So you look at this one, and it is on the free side of Apple TV. Once again, this week, it's a blend in the midweek on the free side or on a season pass. So Montreal and Nashville, you look at this one at Stade Saputo. It is 7-9-1 hosting 10-3-5. Nashville unbeaten in 6 all-time with CF Montreal winning each of the last 3, including a 2-0 win back on March 11, 3-match run, Nashville's longest win streak against any opponent in the club's history. However, CF Montreal has won their last 5 home matches, keeping clean sheets in all 5. 5th team in MLS history to do so within a single season. Only one team, the Wiz, in April and May of 2000, recorded 6 straight shutout home wins in a single season in league history, because we always know that nobody beats the Wiz. And as long as you don't have the Wiz playing the burn, you're in good shape.
Who's at home for this game?
That would be the never to be seen again Impact.
Yeah, give me the Impact at home then.
That's what I figured. I mean, that's
yeah. I mean, on the road, not so good, but the Impact are like quintessential MLS team this year.
Yes.
Stade Saputo is a fortress, and everything on the road is death.
Correct. And that's pretty much how we're going to roll through these things. Also, 7:30, FC Cincinnati hosting Toronto FC. FC Cincinnati, top of the pops in the East at a minus 159. Your draw is a plus 294. Toronto FC is a plus 430. A plus 430. This one's on season pass, so they're going to hide this one. So if you want to watch it, you've got to have the paid subscription to season pass to watch.
That's probably for the best.
Oh, brother. You look at this one, and we're going to play cliffhanger with the facts. 12-1-4 hosting 3-5-10. FC Cincinnati's won 4 of their last 5 against Toronto, including completing the double last year. Toronto had won each of the first 3 in 19 and 20. FC Cincinnati's won its first 12 home matches of the season in all comps, equaling the longest all-competition home win streak to open a season by an MLS team, equaling Jarrett's Earthquakes back in 2002. Cincinnati won 13 of their first 62 home matches in all comps, losing half of them before winning the last 12 straight. Toronto's winless in their last 11 road matches, 7 of them losses. They've only won 2 of their last 33 away from home, dating back to August of 2021, losing 21 of those 33. I don't think we need to go any further.
No.
Wow. This is your public service announcement. Fix your fantasy teams, especially with it being a double match week. Also on the board at 7:30, Red Bulls in Charlotte. Red Bulls at a minus 154. Your draws a plus 274. Charlotte on the road is a plus 434. This one's on the free side of Apple TV as 4, 6, and 7 hosts 6, 8, and 4 fun facts. 3 MLS meetings between Red Bulls and Charlotte have been split. Okay, so I guess that means you've hit each column. Win, loss, and draw. Each team winning at home last year, sides playing a 1-1 draw in Charlotte. Elias Manuel scored all 3 goals for the Red Bulls in the 3 meetings. His only 3 MLS goals. I believe Elias Manuel will not be present for the evening tonight. Red Bulls lost their last MLS match 3-0 at home against the Purple Team back on June 3rd. New York has suffered consecutive defeats just once in their last 67 regular season MLS matches, dating back to August of 21, losing to NYC and Columbus in September and October. Charlotte came back from behind 3 separate times in their 3-3 draw with Seattle on June 10. Marked the 5th time Charlotte has avoided defeat when trailing in a match this season, having drawn 4, equaling Atlanta, the Red Bulls, and Vancouver for the most in Major League Soccer. Red Bulls faced only 7 shots in their loss to the Purple Team, 14th time in 17 matches. New York has held an opponent to fewer than 10 shots this year. No other MLS team has held opponents to single-digit shot attempts more than 8 times this year. And Patrick Agyemang's 89th minute equalizer for Charlotte against Seattle came on the end of a 21-pass move. Somebody counted. 3rd goal Charlotte scored after a buildup of 20 or more passes. So I thought passing was bad and possession was bad. But okay. So that's what you're staring at. What say you, Jared Smith?
Passing's not bad, first of all.
Yeah.
What were the numbers? Sorry.
The numbers in this one, Red Bulls minus 154, your draws a plus 274, and Charlotte on the road is a plus 434. They will not have Jóźwiak. You will not have Hamady Diop, and Enzo Capetti is a questionable. Screams like 1-0 Red Bulls. It really does.
It does, but man, that plus 400 number is purdy. It is purdy.
Oh, and it went up, by the way, in our conversation. It has gone up since we've talked about it. It's now to plus 437.
Man, you know what? Let me lose some money today.
All right. So, and once again, we always promote that this one's on the free side of Apple TV. Never depart with juice boxes that you cannot afford to part with. So, if there's a stinky one or one that has an expiration date in the back of the fridge that you can sit
like pomegranate flavored, which is weird because I hate pomegranate flavored. Much like it's kind of like bananas. I hate pomegranate flavored things.
Yes.
But I like pomegranates themselves.
Ah, okay. So it is the
if that makes sense.
The assistance of the flavor and the additives that are thrown into the pile that make things not so good for you. In this one, by the way, Sergi Boyko, our boy Boyko, is in the middle for Red Bulls in Charlotte. Yeah, good luck on that one. Okay, good. Good on you. That one will be really interesting.
Decisions were made.
Yes, they were. Also, 7:39, the last one, a Purple Team hosting Philadelphia Union. Purple Team's a plus 158 at home. Your draws a plus 242. Philadelphia Union are a plus 165. Alex Chilowitz is the man in the middle. Your VAR is Jair Marufo. And this one is on the season pass side of Apple TV as 7-5-5 greets 9-5-3. Fun facts: Purple Team beat the Union 2-1 at Subaru Park March 25th, handing Philly its only loss in 31 home matches in all comps since the start of last season. Orlando's never defeated the Union multiple times within a single season. Wow, Rich already says Orlando beats Union. Orlando City's six-match unbeaten run came to an end with a 3-1 defeat at New England Saturday. Purple Team unbeaten in 4 straight home matches, equaling their longest single-season home unbeaten run since a 6-match span in 2021. Union saw their 9-match league unbeaten streak come to an end with a 2-1 defeat at San Jose. Philadelphia lost consecutive regular season games only once since the start of last season, doing so in March of this year with the second defeat coming against the Purple Team. Duncan McGuire, I feel like you should say Duncan McGuire came off the bench to score his 5th MLS goal of the season, including his 3rd as a sub. He's the 5th Orlando City player to score at least 3 goals off the bench in a single season. Julio Baptista in 2016 has scored more. Kai Wagner assisted Damian Lowe for the Union's only goal in their loss. Assist was Wagner's 33rd since joining the MLS in 2019. 10 more than any other defender in the league in that time. What say you, Jared Smith?
Well, I'm going to go against everything that Rich is feeling, and I am going to take Philly.
Well, okay, so Rich has made the point that as we look at absences,
I trust Rich's opinion on this. I'm just going against it.
Right.
Rich's opinion is valued.
Yes. 3 players, including Blake, out for the Gold Cup. Andrea Perea is also out due to illness. I believe we're getting to see Bendick face for Philadelphia in net, according to Jim Curtin.
Bendick face is completely capable of some really stupid and beautiful stuff. I just need people to remember that.
Yep. Out. Grinwis, Abdi Salim, Cartagena, Gallese, Wilfredo Rivera, Facundo Torres, all out for international duty. Gaston Gonzalez is questionable for the Purple Team.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though. I don't think the Purple Team even missing those players is good enough right now.
Yeah.
I think they can be. I think that Orlando is one of the most disappointing teams early this season. Now, that has been changing. They've been having some results, and they still lose some games. That's okay. That's just part of being in MLS. You know what you're getting into in this beautifully dumb league.
Yes.
Orlando still kind of misfires sometimes, and I keep waiting for them to not misfire, and then they still misfire.
Yikes. Yeah. I don't know. Orlando City without Gallese and Philadelphia without Blake. I'm taking the over. How about that? Morning time. So you're going to have backup keeper for the Purple Team, and you're going to have Bendick face for Philadelphia Union. I'm taking the over. How about that? I'll go the over. That's
Bendick pulling a revenge tour.
Yeah.
Would be highly entertaining.
2.5 is a minus 109. 3.5 is a plus 225. I'll take the over at 3.5. Yeah, the over at 3.5 at a plus 225. I'll take that. That's where I will go. Celta Vigo picked up Rafa Benitez. So we'll see how long that lasts. Yeah.
Okay.
8:39. Houston hosting your Earthquakes. Houston is a minus 143. Draws a plus 298. And the Quakes are a plus 359 on the road in this one. This one's on the free side of Apple TV. And it's 7-7-3 hosting 7-5-6. Fun facts, Earthquakes recorded a 2-1 home win over Houston back on April Fool's Day. But the Dynamo have won each of the last 6. Yes, between the sides in Houston. Dynamo have just one longer regular season home winning streak against a single opponent, 7 against DC from 09 to 14. The Dynamo have won back-to-back matches, both against LAFC, keeping clean sheets in both wins. Houston hasn't won 3 straight league matches since August and September 2020 and hasn't kept 3 straight clean sheets in a single regular season since July and August of 2012. Quakes, unbeaten in 5 straight, allowing just 2 goals in those matches. San Jose's longest unbeaten run in regular season play since a 10-match run in 21. First time it's allowed 2 or fewer goals in a 5-match span since 2015. Dynamo have equaled an MLS record by allowing just 2 goals through their first 8 home matches of a season, equaling a mark set by Chivas in 2007, matched by Toronto FC in 2008. Only Toronto in 2008 allowed 2 goals in their first 9. Jeremy Abobasi has scored 3 goals in his last 2 matches in Houston, including netting a brace in the 4-3 defeat last April. Only 2 players have scored in 3 straight visits to Houston, Diego Rubio and Kelly Dubé from 2008 to 2010. What say you, Jared Smith?
I always love Houston, San Jose, because if you know your history, it should always be a meaner game than it is.
Yeah.
This one kind of feels like a draw, but
yeah, it does.
It also feels like it go either way. Like, look, San Jose has been good this year. Like Jason and I were talking about it one night. They're not like weird, stupid good. They're just playing good.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a habit, like Atlanta has had, of coughing up results at the end of games. Houston's just scrappy. Like Ben Olsen at the very least has plugged all of the holes in the boat, it seems.
Yes.
Well, maybe not all of them. There may be 1 or 2. He has been plugging holes in the boat. Has he gotten all the water out of the boat? Not yet, but he stopped the water from coming in the boat. And that's progress. That's what you ask for.
Yes.
Next step would be to start getting water out of the boat.
Yes.
Give me the draw here, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but I don't know who to trust.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going draw. I really am. Yikes. All right, yeah, draw. I think it'll be, and this is the thing. It's like you're banking on Steve Clark to have yet another fantastic performance between the sticks. I don't know if I don't know if he can do 3 in a row. Also at 8:39, All Caps goes up against RSL, and they are at home at All Caps Park. They are a -112 at home. Draws a +286. And RSL is a +273, as this one is on season pass, as we have RSL losing 4-0 to All Caps on March 25th, and equaling their heaviest defeat to an expansion team in club history. They also did that to Chivas and LAFC. RSL has only won 1 of 11 regular season road games against expansion sides, losing 8, but they did knock LAFC out of the playoffs back in 2018. All Caps are winless in 3 straight. Maybe not having one of your leading scorers is probably one of the reasons for that. Equaling the longest run of its expansion season. After winning its first 5, St. Louis has recorded just 4 wins in their last 12. RSL equaled the longest road unbeaten run of all comps in club history at 8, winning 6 with the 2-1 win at DC, matching a streak from November 2013 to May 2014, including the penalty shootout loss in the MLS Cup final. Nico Gioacchini scored the lone goal for All Caps in their 3-1 loss to Nashville. He's scored each of the team's last 3 goals and is up to a team-high 7. Gioacchini is the first All Caps player to score 3 straight team goals. Pablo Ruiz scored from his own half of the field in one of the goals of the year in RSL's win on Saturday. Of the 10 longest goals, and who was it that was caught off his line in that one?
I believe it was Tyler Miller. Once again.
Yes, that is
which again, we'll keep harping on it. Wayne, this isn't like he's playing out of pocket. Like, Wayne Rooney was basically like, hey, man, this is how we're going to play. You're going to get beat, and I need you to just understand that you're going to get beat, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So, so All Caps at home is a -112, even with their lack of firepower in this one. RSL, Farnsworth, Holt, Rubio, Rubin are out with injury. Rubio, Rubin, Anderson, Julio, Jefferson, Severino, Brian Ojeda all out on international duty. Brian Oviedo, Marcelo Silva are questionable. And for All Caps, Nielsen, Klaus, Lewin, and John Bell are all out. So you have you're lacking 2 of your top pieces in your offense, and you're at home going up against the hot RSL team. I am thinking draw, and that's a good question, Bam. I think after the window opens, so July 5th. Chicho Arango for RSL. So I've got to go. I'm going against all caps, but not in its entirety. I'll take that plus 286 and run. That's just me.
That's just you.
939. Copa Tejas at Q2. Austin FC is an even money, plus 100. Your draw against FC Dallas is a plus 247. FCD is a plus 271 in this one. Who is not available in this particular match for Dallas? Out. Areola, Jimenez, Pamakal, Sabalang, Tariq Scott is out with a season-ending injury, and Ivan Tumasi, questionable, legit. Jose Martinez is questionable from international duty coming back, as is Bernard Kamungo. Don't know if he'll make it back in time. Austin looks like it's they don't have Kolmanich. They don't have Vysanen. Questionable is Radovanovic and Sofian Jeffal. Otherwise, they are in a decent shape for that one. So what say you, Jared Smith, as Austin on the season pass side of things at 939 hosts FCD?
Are we going to get a week without a Copa Tejas?
No.
No? Cool.
No, I don't think so.
I'm fine with that. I just want to know.
Yes.
I just want to be aware of what my life's schedule is. Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't trust you, Austin.
No.
It's not even personal.
No.
It's just that I don't trust you.
Yes. Absolutely. Right there with you. 939 also, the Prairie Dogs get to host the Whitecaps at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City, Colorado. Rapids are a plus 122. Your draws a plus 256. Vancouver is a plus 206. Folks who are missing or could be missing in this one for Colorado: out Brian Acosta with international duty, out Gersbach, Jack Price with the Achilles, and Max, obviously, who's been removed from team activities. Diego Rubio is questionable in this one for Vancouver. Questionable in this one are out Tybert, Brown, Gressel. Brown and Gressel are on international duty, as well as Pedro Vite. So you will not have Vite, Gressel, or Javane Brown. Russell Tybert is out because of left knee pain. What say you, Jared Smith?
Sorry, I'm seeing the news about Newcastle making a €50 million euro offer for Sandro Tonali.
Yes. Match race. Here we go.
Nick is very upset.
Yes. Absolutely. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Yeah. Nick is all kinds of fired up now.
Nick has opinions.
Yes.
Vancouver. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Just give me Vancouver. I'm not going to overthink this.
At a plus 206. 3 matches at 1039, and we start off with LAFC in Seattle. And LAFC is favored, although they have only scored a couple of goals in like their last 9 months. According to BAM, Acosta, Tillman, questionable. Sifu, Long, out with international duty. Murillo, Palencia, Crepo, out injured as well. They were to minus 120. Your draws a plus 267. Seattle on the road at BMO Stadium is a plus 319 for Seattle when it comes to player availability. Actually, let me see if there's anybody else that we're missing here. Let's see. Seattle out. Kitahara and Jordan Morris and Nico Lodero are questionable with adductor strains. He vows to come back stronger and better, does Jordan Morris. But right now, at home, LAFC's a minus 120 as Seattle comes to town at 10:39 kick. And that one's on the season pass, understandably so. What say you, Jared Smith?
I do want to qualify because I feel like we have to keep doing this for LAFC.
Yes.
LAFC gets the win last week. You get the goal at the death. And, I mean, look, they needed it. If for no other reason, confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Because LAFC has struggled the last few games. And I think now that CONCACAF Champions League is done, like many teams have done this. Like you pour your heart and soul into Champions League, and you're gonna ship some results in the league. That being said,
mm-hmm.
That being said, like what you were dealing with beyond that is the fact that like they put up really good numbers against Atlanta and and didn't find a goal. So actually, I do have to jump for 1 second. I'll be back in a few minutes though.
No worries. To answer the question by Will, the Gold Cup roster for the U.S. 23-man squad. Here's your added unavailabilities: Matt Turner, Sean Johnson, Gaga Slanina. Defense: Yedlin, Long, Miazga, Brian Reynolds, Miles, DeJuan Jones, Jalen Neal, John Tolkien. Midfield: Busio, Senora, James Sands, Georgi Mihailovic, Christian Roldan, Aiden Morris, Jesus Ferreira, Cade Cowell, Jordan Morris, Alejandro Zendejas, Brandon Vasquez, Julian Gressel. So that's what you're staring at for the U.S. side. Jamaica, Andre Blake. That's why they get Joe Bendick in goal tonight. Damian Lowe is attached to the Jamaica side. Kamar Lawrence, Javane Brown. We mentioned Javane Brown not being a part of things. Corey Burke with Red Bulls is on the Jamaica side. Trinidad, you have I'm trying to see if there's anybody. Johnny Fortune for Trinidad and Tobago. Awesome to see that for Jay Fortune. Kevin Molino is out. He's on the Trinidad Tobago roster. So we'll be working with all that. We forgot to mention all of the center refs as we get into the 10 o'clock starts. Tori Penso is in the middle for Montreal and Nashville. Sergi Boyko is in the middle for Red Bulls and Charlotte. Alex Chilowitz is the man in the middle for a Purple Team in Philadelphia. Ismir Pekmich is Houston and San Jose. Alejandro Mariscal is your VAR. All caps and RSL has Lucas Sapala as the man in the middle. Kevin Stott, your VAR there. Copa Tejas has Rosendo Mendoza in the middle. Natalie Simon is your fourth. Daniel Radford, your VAR there. Guido Gonzalez Jr. is the man in the middle for Colorado and Vancouver. Galaxy and Sporting, Philip Dujic is the man in the middle there. That one will be interesting by the time we all get home. JC Rivero is your VAR. LAFC and Seattle, Ted Uncle is the man in the middle. David Barry is your VAR. Portland and the Fire. Fotis Bazakos is the man in the middle for Portland and Chicago at 10:39. Yunus Marakchi is your VAR for Portland and Chicago. So, looking at Soren Stoichka is the VAR for Atlanta United and NYC. It is John Freeman, Ian McKay, Walt Heatherly. Your fourth is Sergei Demyanchuk. Soren Stoichka is your VAR. Jonathan Johnson is your AVAR. And according to Abby, TIFO, Juneteenth team, very very cool tonight. And Bam has Ted Uncle. Yeah, Ted Uncle for LAFC in Seattle. So Bam should enjoy that one. So that one will be interesting to keep an eye on by the time everybody gets home. Galaxy and Sporting is at 10:39. Galaxy's a plus 110. Your draw is a plus 282. Sporting is a plus 215. I'm going Sporting. And also at 10:39. Portland and the Fire. Portland are a minus 135 at home at Providence Park. Your draw is a plus 280. Chicago Fire are a plus 359. So that is what you're staring at with all of your juice boxes. Notable absences and player availabilities. Toronto FC out with lower body injuries. That's literally Toronto FC sounds like they're treating it like the Maple Leafs. Lower body. That's all it says. Bradley, Coelho, Diamande, Hugo Mbonge, Victor Vasquez. International duty, Sean Johnson, Tomas Romero. Questionable as Matt Hedges with a lower body injury. Welcome TFC2 to the game. Sporting. Tim Melia out with a quad, means Pulse Camp's going to start. Courtney Ford is out with Achilles surgery. Ndembe, Zusi, Cam Duke all out. Willie Agata is out. Marino Sionis is out with international duty. Fontas and Pierre are questionable for Sporting with hamstring injuries. San Jose, Baldissimo, and Nathan are out for injuries. International duty has Cal Gruezo and Miguel Trauco out. We mentioned RSL. For Portland, out Mora, Ayala, Erickson, Jimmy Chara on injuries, and Juan David Mosquera for international duty. We mentioned the Purple Team, Red Bulls, out Ngoma, Morgan, Serwada with injuries. Corey Burke, John Tolkien, international duty, questionable. Omir Fernandez and Dylan Nealis. NYC, Thiago Martins is out. Maxime Chanot is out. James Sands is out. Chanot and Sands with international duty. The Revs, Dylan Barrero out for the year. Nacho Heel, Henry Kessler, Maciel, Tommy McNamara, all injuries. McCoon, Petrovic, and Damian Rivera out for international duty. And because it is after 9:30, we bring in this guy. How you doing?
Don't ever talk to me like that. That's really creepy.
Welcome to the show.
That's better.
There you go. Jarrett had to duck out. He'll be coming back soon. But since we have we've cleared the decks. We've talked about everything in juice boxes for the other games. I know that you'll be busy. But what other games will you be keeping an eye on when you're maybe off the air or in commercial break tonight?
I mean, I'll be keeping an eye on what's going on with the Red Bulls because we'll see them on Saturday, and I'm intrigued by what's going on with the Red Bulls' new manager. You know, how different are things than what they were under Struber? The results haven't necessarily been there, not consistently anyway, and I just want to see how they do tonight at home. They get back-to-back home games. But both teams are going to be on short rest, and sometimes when you're playing these pressing teams and games pile up a little bit, that fatigue shows, and it affects their game style a little bit more. Nashville has been on a tear lately as well, and going to Montreal, who has been good at home. Nashville, are they for real? They're starting to prove it, and Hani Mukhtar's doing things that we've just never seen consistently in this league. He's put together a 3-year run that, I mean, you're looking at Robbie Keane and you're looking at Sebastian Giovinco, and that's it in terms of not just scoring a lot of goals, but also assisting a lot of goals. So Mukhtar's on pace to win the MVP again, and those are the two that I'm really looking at. LAFC Seattle late night tonight will be an interesting one as well. Should be able to watch the second half once I get back.
All right. So with Atlanta and NYC, for Atlanta United, a lot of folks out for one reason or another, international duty coming back. You've got injuries and such. When you've been getting ready for this one and Atlanta United, what are you anticipating tonight with the home side?
I mean, everybody in the league's dealing with international absences. So it's not an Atlanta thing. It's not an NYC thing. They're missing guys too. It's everybody. And you're in this weird spot between in CONCACAF anyway, the Nations League and the Gold Cup, where some managers might have some guys who are going to go away to the Gold Cup, and Atlanta does with Jay Fortune, but they don't with Derek Etienne. So it's really odd around the league. I think the biggest storyline is what the lineups are going to look like, because they're not going to look normal. I mean, NYC, let's start on that side. James Sands out. He's going to the Gold Cup with the U.S. Maxime Chanot, center back, out. He's with Luxembourg. Thiago Martins out with an injury. So that's your two starting center backs and the other guy who plays center back, because he typically plays in the holding midfield, but he played center back very, very well in the 1-1 draw against Columbus on the weekend. And now you're really down to potentially NYCFC 2 players providing support, and Justin Hack, who's a converted midfielder, and Tony Alfaro. Like, that's what you're looking at. And NYC has played a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 quite a bit. I don't know who the third center back is going to be. So do they shift? What does that look like? On the Atlanta side, I think you're able to play in the same way that you'd like to play. But center back is an issue there too, because you're missing Miles Robinson. You're missing Luis Abram. You do have a Noah Cobb who comes in after games now. You know, when he played in Columbus, he had preseason games under his belt. He didn't have any Atlanta United 2 games under his belt. Noah Cobb's got 9 games there, and he's played well in MLS Next Pro. So you've got him. You've got Juano Parata. You would assume that's going to be the starting center back duo. Fullback, you're in good shape. Ronald Hernandez wasn't called up. Midfield, even missing Santiago Sosa, you do still have a lot of options there, so you should have plenty of choices. Up top, you know, you're missing Yorgos Yakimakis due to suspension. You've got Miguel Berry, who's in a good spot of form right now. I think he's had some good performances in a row here. And on the wings, you've got Tyler Wolff, who's been in really good form and primed to get a start and probably would get that start tonight, although you do have the Ronald Hernandez, Brooks Lennon variant on the right side where you play Hernandez at right back and you play Lennon at right wing. So that's in the cards as well if you want to go there. And you got Caleb Wiley back. And I think getting Wiley back is another big element here, getting him fully back and contributing during the Gold Cup, where Wiley and Lennon were both on the preliminary roster. Neither one got the call up. That's a good thing for Atlanta United. You get through this one, you should have everybody back for the weekend, and probably pretty close to being 90 minutes fit. I think with Giacomakis, there's still a little bit of concern there. Can you maybe get him into 75 or so? Thiago Almada didn't play a lot, but he had a lot of travel. I think he's supposed to be landing in Atlanta. Either he already has or sometime this morning, and it's just going to be a game time decision on what he could give you tonight, if anything. But he should be good to go for Saturday. You should have everybody else back. You will lose Fortune. You won't have Etienne. You won't have Miles Robinson, but you'll have Almada, Giacomakis, Abram. And Chol did not go away on international duty. I know he was called up, but as I mentioned on Atlanta Soccer Tonight, the South Sudan FA is not always the most organized in getting things actually done. They make call-ups, but sometimes players don't actually get there. So I don't know the situation exactly, but he's here, so he's available tonight.
Can we talk about Jay Fortune for a second? And him getting the international call-up and getting to represent his country. I just think that it's the continuing evolution of what we're seeing with him, but it's fantastic to see that he gets to represent his country this time around.
He already has. That's the thing. And I think maybe we sleep on Jay Fortune when it comes to this stuff. He's got 4 caps already. This is a guy who has been ready for a little while. And Gonzalo Pineda's talked about him for a pretty good while as well. He started talking about him late last season. He's somebody that he believes in. So, it shouldn't be a surprise that Fortune is getting a start in the last time out, is playing well, is looking the part, is looking like he's been there before, looking like he can handle it. He has and he can. I think getting the MLS starts has been that next step for him, and he's got one under his belt. Can he continue to get more? We'll find out tonight, maybe. But I think he will factor into the second half of the season in a starting role. I think he gives you something different than you've had in that central midfield. And as the roster is currently constructed, I think the 6 and the 10 are pretty well established with Franco Ibarra as the guy, and with Thiago Almada as obviously the guy. The 8, it's been a rotating cast, and Josetu started well, got hurt. Sejdic then played out of his mind and was great, got hurt. Door opens for Fortune because Josetu and Sejdic have both been back and have both been fine, but not great. Can Fortune be an upgrade? And he's looked good in the minutes he's had. Can he continue to give more and do it over a longer period of time? That's the question. But going into the Gold Cup, it's not a surprise. I think he's one of the best midfielders that Trinidad and Tobago has to offer, and he's going to get to double-digit caps as soon as he can. I don't know how long of a run they're going to make in this tournament, but by the end of the year and going into qualifying for 26, I would say that Jay Fortune's going to be a regular in that Trinidad and Tobago midfield.
And one of the things that in conversations with Gonzalo Pineda, doesn't matter what the number is on your driver's license. Doesn't matter what your DOB is. If you perform well during the week and you have the confidence as a young player, Gonzalo Pineda is going to have that faith in you to start you. So seeing all of these young guys is not a surprise and should not be a surprise as things continue to evolve here with Atlanta United.
Well, hold on a second. Let's not go total cliche from the note card here, because no manager is just completely blind to the fact that a player is X years old. No manager. Nobody. Some managers are more likely to play young players than others. But any manager who literally says, and I know, again, it's a cliche, I know that you're going to play young players when they prove it and when they're ready. But any manager who is blind to a player's age is setting a player up to fail. You don't just throw a player in because he's had a good week of training if he's 16 and he hasn't played games at this level on a regular basis. You have to be thoughtful about how you put players in and set them up for success. Jay Fortune didn't walk in and just start starting. He got games. He got minutes under his belt. He got tests. The game in L.A., he comes in and he needed to give the team something in that moment where they're under pressure, they're under siege. He got it done. He had done that in Orlando. He's earned more minutes. He's earned trust. But yeah, like, some managers are going to be more willing to accelerate that timeline because there is a timeline for any young player. You don't just throw a kid in because he had a good week of training. You can't do that because then if he has a bad game, it might take a long time to get them back to their best. And that's a concern for any good manager. And Gonzalo Pineda absolutely is thoughtful about the progression for players. As good as Luke Brennan's been right now with Atlanta United too, you're not just going to throw him in at the deep end of the pool and let him figure it out. No, you want to set him up for success. And look, setting him up for success might be coming off the bench tonight, especially if the team's got a lead. And you're in a position to where, all right, we've got a lead. We can continue to put a team under pressure. He's earned this opportunity with his play with the second team and with training with the first team. Luke, let's go. Here's your debut. Let's go. Noah Cobb, another prime example. Noah Cobb is somebody that Gonzalo Pineda believes in. Club believes in. They think he is a future national team center back. I agree. He's started one game this year. He hasn't just been thrown in. He's been prepared for these moments. So I know what you're saying, but we also have to be real in talking about how you get young players ready for these moments. And tonight is an opportunity for potentially quite a few because of international absences, and this is why you've had to prepare for these moments. Noah Cobb, I'm assuming he's going to start tonight. He has prepared for this moment with preseason necessity game in Columbus because you did not have another option. I don't think Noah Cobb was the reason for the loss and for all the goals scored, but he didn't play his best game this year in that game. He just didn't. He's got games under his belt. He's been training with the first team. He's ready. So now he's got to perform. Just because you're a good young player doesn't mean you automatically start and play. Just because you're a good young player and you've done all the things to get that time doesn't mean you perform. But managers and clubs have to set guys up to give them every opportunity to perform. And there's so much more that goes into that other than just some good training sessions and here you go play.
When it comes to NYC, is there anything that really concerns you about them coming into this match tonight, considering that they've just been absolutely poor on the road this year and they're in the bottom third of the standings in the East?
Yeah, I mean, look, let me let me figure out the best way I want to approach this. Okay. Let me comment on what you just said, John, and then let me also comment on some of the other noise out there. Mm-hmm. Because you cannot underestimate NYCFC just because they are in a bad spot of form. They have not won in 10. They haven't lost all of those 10 either. They haven't won on the road, but they've gotten 4 draws out of 9 games on the road. And they have a lot of talent up top. It hasn't fit, but you still have talented players in Santiago Rodriguez, Thales Magno, Gabriel Pereira. Those are all really good players that are better than their stats. So you can't come into this and say, there's nothing that worries me about NYCFC. Nah, nothing. No problem. You could just walk out there with blindfolds and win the game. And you also can't have this mentality that, Atlanta United's missing some players, so, NYC can walk in with blindfolds and win 5-0. No, that's not how that's not how the game works. We got to be a little more respectful when we have these conversations about teams. It's got to change both ways. NYCFC is a team that defensively, I think they have concerns. And I mentioned it, without center backs, I don't know what the back line looks like for NYCFC. That's my biggest question mark when it comes to them. Midfield, is that going to be affected by the back line? Does Alfredo Morales kind of have to play as a center back tonight? I mean, maybe he's a defensive midfielder. I don't know who else you're going to turn to unless you're going to bring a fullback inside to play as a center back. I think it's easier for a 6 to drop as a center back than a fullback to come inside in general, but every player's different. We'll see. If you move him and you're missing Sands already, that's putting a lot of pressure on Keaton Parks. But again, this attack for NYC, and generally they've gone with Rodriguez, Magno, and Pereira in a little bit of an amoeba kind of shape. Whether if Rodriguez is a 9, he's playing as a false 9, he's dropping in. Magno, Pereira, if they're wingers, they're tucking inside. You do have Gabe Siegel, who has come off the bench and scored 2 late goals this season, scored 1 to get a point against Columbus. You do have Richie Ledesma, who has been a good creator for them. You kind of have to turn to him and maybe play him a little bit more as a 10 here and move some other pieces around. I don't know. But the attack and the talented players they have, that concerns me against an Atlanta backline that's missing their center backs. It's missing Miles Robinson. That is going to start Noah Cobb. The rest of the backline might be the same as the usual group, and your 6 should be the same as usual. But yes, talented players for NYC. You have to be concerned and respect what they can do every single time. You can't go into games thinking, it's a cakewalk, they're not playing well. But you also can't look at Atlanta United and say, they're missing some players, so forget it. They have nothing. They're missing all these goals in their team. Well, Miguel Berry hasn't played as much as Yorgos Giacomakis, so he's not going to score as many goals. He's not the same player. Can he get you a goal tonight? Yeah, he can. Tyler Wolff, goals per minutes played, pretty good for Tyler Wolff. If he starts tonight, if he plays a lot of minutes tonight, okay, maybe that percentage starts to change a little bit. Caleb Wiley, he's played a lot as a fullback this year after a good start playing as a winger. I would assume he's playing as a winger tonight with Andrew Gutman there, and you need that little boost in the attack. You've got guys who can score goals in this team. You've got players who can get the job done in this team. You don't have your full strength, so there's questions about can they get it done, and there should be questions. NYC, you have talented players, but there's questions because of their current form. When we have conversations about upcoming games, that's something we've always tried to do here, and it's something I always try to stress. We can't just throw things away when we're going in depth. When we're talking about all the games around the league and we're bouncing through 15 games in a day, yeah, we're going to go quick and we're going to hit the highlights. When we're getting in depth on a game, there better be things about NYC that scare you when you look at them, just like there better be things looking at what Atlanta could look like tonight that should scare opponents. And we have to have real conversations instead of just hot tweets and firing off takes and just, doing that. We got to be better than that. And that's what we try to do here. And that's what I'm trying to give you when we get into these details of, NYC's attack. When you look at those 3 that are going to start, you look at Siegel, who might start, might come off the bench. You look at Ledesma, who is leading them in shot-created actions, leading them in chances created per 90 minutes. Yeah, they can score goals. They can absolutely score goals. Defensively, I think they can concede goals tonight too. And that might be the same on the other side as well. And maybe the defense looks a little stronger for Atlanta in terms of going with regulars versus the attack. So I like where this game falls for both teams. It's really interesting because there's a lot of questions, a lot of potential storylines, and a lot of opportunity for players to make their mark tonight.
Welcome back, Jarrett.
Thanks.
He fell asleep.
No, he didn't.
I think you did.
No, he didn't.
Sorry, I was trying to put you to sleep with my rambling.
It's fine. No, it's fine. In case we don't, I don't know if we're planning to talk Friday, but ahead of this weekend. So let's just get this out now. And we talked about it before, Jason. It's a weird match week. I mean, because yes, it's a 2-match match week, but it's 2 very different matchups. It's a team in NYC who they want the ball. They want the ball. They want to create. They have been pretty good at actually creating chances. They just can't finish worth a damn consistently. But then, this weekend you've got to go play at Red Bull Arena against a damn near polar opposite team. And I apologize if you and John have already talked about this, but want to talk about, how weird of a match week is just because of the differences, but also throw in the fact that you're getting guys back from international duty.
It is what it is. I mean, there's just nothing you can really do about it. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot of training specifically for Red Bulls. I think the way Atlanta United is built this season, honestly, the fear of playing pressing teams is not the same as it used to be. I think Atlanta plays better against teams that step up and press than they do against teams that sit back in a low block. I think 2023 has shown that this season. So if Red Bulls want to step out and press, I think the game plan will be what it was at home. It'll be attract the press and play around it. And the question, I think, in how you do that in that game, because you will be missing Miles Robinson, is who is going to play at center back with Juan Parata. Is it Abram? Is it Cobb? And how Noah plays tonight could go a long way in setting that up, because you've got to be comfortable on the ball in those moments against the Red Bulls press, because the more comfortable you are, the easier it is to play around them and create those opportunities. And I think Atlanta can do that. And I think they did that earlier this year. And I think when teams have tried to step out and press them, they've created that space. So you get Thiago Almada back, you get Yorgos Yakimakis back to give you that long ball outlet when you need it from time to time. Yeah, I think it's a different conversation when we're talking about Red Bulls in 2023 than it's been in previous years. But tonight, it's a challenge just because the lineup's going to look different and you're not going to have everybody, and people have to step up. You have to get some production out of guys who have either not done it a lot this season. I think Miguel Berry would fall into that, but he's in a good spot now. Or guys like Wiley, who has played a good bit but not always in an attacking role, and Wolf, who has played off the bench a good bit but not a ton. You're going to be asking guys like that to produce somewhat at the same level as some of the top players in the league. So you've got to get through tonight. Then you fall back to how you prepared for Red Bulls before, you reincorporate guys, and you go and you play. The biggest question for Red Bulls is that center back partner for Parata, and that's the one that will decide, I think, a lot with that game.
John Freeman's the man in the middle tonight. What's the book on him when it comes to fouls, average numbers, those kinds of things? What kind of a match do we expect with him in the middle?
So he's one of the rare ones this season who is showing less yellows than in his career. This will be his 44th game tonight. Just over 4 yellows per game in his career, 3.67 this season. So a decent drop-off. Fouls called, that's been consistent, right under 27 fouls per game. Just about the same in his career and this season. 10 reds in 43 games in his career, 1 in 12 this year. About the same, and 13 penalties in 43 games in his career and 2 penalties this year. So he calls a good, I mean, just from a snapshot of those numbers, he calls a good bit of fouls. Cards are maybe a little bit less than you would think with the number of fouls, and that's okay. I mean, everybody manages a game differently. There's not like a direct equation of fouls to cards. I just want consistency, and if he calls it kind of tight, but he doesn't throw a bunch of cards, okay, that's fine. If that's what the game allows him to do, and that's the way he calls it, okay. And I think that's pretty good for two teams that really want the ball and want to build up the play, and two teams that have probably been fouled more than their fair share this season.
And I always like to try to go into those numbers when it comes to breaking down this as a part of the equation, just so folks have an idea.
It affects the game, and it's not always from a negative perspective. I know it's easy to gripe about referees and do that, and we all do it. You know, everybody has, but referees and how they call a game will affect how it plays out. And some referees are suited to games, and everything lines up and it works well. Sometimes you get a clash, and it's not just a clash of styles between the two teams. It's a clash of styles between the way the game's going to play out and the referee that's assigned to it. And I think in this case, Freeman's a pretty consistent hand, so I think he'll be fine in this. And I think he'll, again, blow the whistle a little bit more than you might be accustomed to this season. But not throw the cards around quite as much. And I'm okay with that equation. I think sometimes cards get thrown too often. Sometimes they don't get thrown enough. If Freeman's consistent and just uses the whistle to manage the game, that's fine.
Broadcast plans for tonight. What are they, sir?
So one, Mike Conti's away on assignment. It's a family wedding, so he will be back for the Red Bulls game on Saturday. So you're stuck with me on play-by-play. I don't have to try to imitate Boom Yakamakis tonight. You have to if he scores, but
Absolutely.
he's suspended, so that won't be happening tonight.
Still a Galaxy brain decision.
I think he did it on purpose.
Well, it was beautiful because I think you're right. He did it on purpose against the center back who had been cheap shotting him the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he was one yellow card away. He's not going to probably play more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes at most in this game if he plays. You get that suspension out of the way. You get some revenge on a center back that's been trying to bite at your ankles like a little chihuahua all night. It was beautiful. I loved it.
I think he did it on purpose. So no Yakamakis tonight. You're stuck with me on play-by-play, and you're stuck with Jared on color as well.
Stuck is a good word to use.
Hey, if they're stuck with me on play-by-play, they're stuck with you on color. So,
stuck's a good word.
But you can listen to it on 92.9 The Game, starting at 7 o'clock with the Five Stripes Countdown, 7:39 kickoff. And you can listen to us on the Odyssey app, on the Atlanta United app. And if you're watching on Apple TV, you can choose the home team radio option if you want to be stuck with us tonight.
There you go. And so since it is top of the hour, it's a fatal four-way. Dylan Butler has dropped in.
I'm getting pinned quickly here, it looks like.
Yep. But Dylan starts hour number 2.
I'm putting the table up.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
All of a sudden. So, Jason, we'll catch up with you tonight, my friend. Thanks a lot.
See ya. Hi, Dylan. Bye, Dylan.
There goes. So there's Jason. And so we start hour number 2 with Dylan Butler. And when you look at the weekend that was, a no dilly, no dally zone this week. The weekend that was, and it was the abbreviated stuff where you only had a handful of matches. Anything stick out to you and what you get to carry into the midweek? Because some folks decided that they wanted to play during an international window. Some folks did not. And some folks' fantasy teams took a beating because of it. So what sticks out in your mind as we get ready for weekend, midweek, weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you add it to the abbreviated. It wasn't on the weekend, but we haven't spoken since this. But maybe Houston's ownership of LAFC, like going back, right? So last Wednesday, you go back to back. You win at LAFC as well, so that was impressive. I thought obviously another incredible goal, right? With Salt Lake. And by the way, maybe it's time for Tyler Miller to slide back a little bit, not play that sweeper keeper role, or keep doing it, and we get more of these incredible goals. Maybe next week there'll be one from 75 yards, or maybe the keeper will chip him in one of these matches. And then
I want it to happen off kickoff.
It's almost right. Like what did Mike Rella holds the record, right, for the fastest goal in MLS. But even that wouldn't break the record, right? Like unless you pass it all the way back to your keeper and then he chips. But I thought New England, even though kind of both teams were shorthanded, an impressive win for New England. Gustavo Bo played really well in that one against Orlando. And then, NYCFC clawing back a point. A positive, although you're home, you need to get 3. But it was against a very in-form Columbus team. So, I almost feel they're in different boats, but you almost feel similar for NYCFC as in Miami, right? Let's tread water. Let's get close to the line. Let's get within a touching distance, and then we'll make our moves in the secondary transfer window. Obviously, Miami's, there will not be a bigger one than Miami's move. But NYCFC, no doubt, will go into those waters and get themselves, you would think, certainly a 9 and maybe more.
Jarrett Smith for Dylan Butler. Go for it.
I mean, we kind of already started the Houston weird dynamic of what they did to LA. Overall, though, we get Houston against San Jose coming up this week, and oh man, what is it that Ben Olsen's doing that's working? Because it feels stable, for lack of a better word, for the first time in a while.
Yeah, for sure, and I think probably a big part of that, it would seem to be, and we've spoken about it before, a buy-in, right, from Hector Herrera. So I don't know if he was completely bought in a year ago when he came over. Certainly inconsistent play from him when he made the move, but he appears to be that guy now. And listen, DC, I know you have to go back a couple of MLS versions to when Olsen started as DC coach, but they were really good when he started there as well. So, is it so much of a lengthy sort of new coach bump, or is he doing something tactically? I mean, he's certainly, one thing you could say about him, and I think when teams are going well, it works. This type of manager works, is that he's a player coach, right? He was a player. He's that guy to have a beer with. So I think when times are good, that helps, and I think that locker room, it appears, is a cohesive one, and they're getting the fans back, and it's exciting to have the Dynamo back. I remember years back, man, I'm dating myself here, but like they were the team, and I remember going to what was it, Robertson Stadium, Red Bulls Houston, back in those really weird days where the Eastern Conference team played in the Western Conference playoffs, and the Red Bulls pulled off a shocking upset of Houston, who were, I want to say at that time, 2-time defending champions. So I was there at RFK for one of the MLS Cups
with the Raccoons.
The Raccoons. The 2 seats over was a press seat. Raccoon had a press pass on for Houston, New England MLS Cup. So I mean, they were the team, right? Like, they're not. It's going to take some time to get back to that rarefied air, that elite status, but the building blocks, it would appear, are there right now.
It's amazing what happens when you have an owner that decides he wants to invest in a product.
Yeah, seriously.
From a star player. We look at the midweek and the weekend here, and we kind of got into Messi and friends last time.
Yep.
It appears that the and friends might be kind of getting figured out. Might be Sergi Busquets. Looks like Benfica might be in the chase for Angel Di Maria. Looks like Luis Suarez. Gremio might be putting an anti-Inter Miami clause into the contract of Luis Suarez. So Suarez is like, no, I'm retiring. But then Gremio's like, well, tell you what, we're going to put an anti-Inter Miami clause into the contract, so you can't just jump and jet and be part of and friends. We got into the discussion yesterday, and we were trying to figure out, okay, great, fine. If they're all 3 of the DPs, and apparently today, according to Jorge _Moss and his Twitter account, you had the three jerseys hanging on the hangers in a row, no names on the back, but I guess we're supposed to anticipate something happening today of some import. But when it comes to the and friends and this deal that's supposed to be 2.5 years, probably $150 million, and that doesn't include the NIL part of it, what do we do now when it comes to the league? Is it a cap? Is it a floor? Is it a ceiling? Is it a Larry Bird exception? Is it NIL? Have we opened up another Pandora's box here when it comes to and friends? What are you anticipating now with all of this stuff as and friends is getting closer and closer, and you've got to move it out of DRVP&K. You got to go either to Hard Rock or Marlins Park, because 22,000 isn't going to cut it by filling in the holes with more metal bleachers when it comes to Messi and Fort Lauderdale.
And
tell me what's going on, Dylan.
And you'll recoup money, obviously, the jersey sales, but you need to the fans in the seats to recoup some of the money that you're spending there as well. Few things here. So can I be like the anti and friends a little bit here? Like a friend I think is fine. I don't see how this Miami team will be better with like this all-star group of players coming in, and then immediately we expect them to immediately mesh, immediately be used to MLS just because they're incredible world superstars and just go on this incredible run. You know,
it's LeBron, Wade, and Bosch all over again. Same story.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, look, Messi, maybe Busquets, but beyond that, like I feel like what they have now is okay. It's pretty good. But I think if you start adding way too many guys in, especially in a mid-season, in the heat of South Florida, I don't know if that's the answer, right? Like I get it. I get and listen, I saw it here, right? NYCFC with Villa, with Pirlo, and with Lampard. Could you say that was a success, right? Like David Villa was in terms of what he did on the field, right? Like he was always out there and he was doing it, but Lampard was hurt more often than he was not, and Pirlo just appears to go through the motions, right? So I don't know, like that's where I'm wary of multiple new players all coming in at the same time in a league that is physical and athletic. So that's my anti sort of and friends stance.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you figure that it's going to be Busquets, Busquets would be the and.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out who the friends part of this is. I mean, and you've got the 3 DPs that you've got to get rid of. You're probably buying Gregory down.
Correct.
You're getting rid of Pizarro and Campagna. I think Campagna you're selling overseas because of interest there. And so I think that the wiggle room can be made and the cap hit is minimal. We talked about it yesterday. It's like $306,000 for each DP.
Yeah, and they've set themselves up well too with GAM and TAM and all that kind of fun stuff too. So with especially being able to buy down from the DP, they have that ability.
Mm-hmm. And so Ricky is saying this is LeBron, old Westbrook, and injury-prone Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. I like that, Ricky.
22 It's 20. It's a 22.
Maybe throw in Harden there as well.
I mean, it's you can't get a seat. We talked about the alleged opener that is going to be the Cruz Azul match in Leagues Cup, where the get-in price and the secondary market is now over $1,000. And you've got to change your venue. You can't do this.
There's no way.
You can't. You've got to move this someplace else. I don't care if Stephen Ross has a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation for not letting Barcelona of Ecuador come and play. You've got to, maybe it is Marlins Park. Set a price, and you've got folks swimming in the beyond the outfield wall as Messi's lining up a free kick. I don't, but you've got
trying to get the home run ball, the ball that goes over and out into the.
That'd be epic.
Yeah,
Jarrett for Dylan Butler, go for it.
No, and that's the thing is, like, I agree in the sense that we saw this with LAFC last year when they brought in Bale, they brought in Chiellini, and it took them a while to figure out what the right combination was. They couldn't just throw those guys on the field with Arango and with Vela, and you couldn't. This isn't FIFA. You can't put 4 superstars on the field and it just magically works. You have to find the right combination. Eventually, they did. I do feel the same way about Miami. That, like, yeah, it'll make for some fun times, but I also kind of have a similar vibe to Toronto last year. I think it was Matt Doyle who said it so simply, which was during one of Toronto's really bad games of Insigne ain't fixing this. Like, Messi isn't fixing Miami by himself. Miami has. I really want to see what Miami looks like after the winter window, if that makes sense. I know that, and that's another window away, but Let me see what the whole project looks like after another off season.
And listen, Bale, it took Bale until what? The 7th minute of stoppage time in the MLS Cup to make his impact, right?
Yeah.
So,
And he goes, "I'm out."
yeah, hitting the links.
Yep. It's like, oh, look, Riviera. And he just kind of goes, he goes this way. I mean, yeah, the probably the easiest thing to do, we talk about juice boxes on the show, obviously, because they're out there and folks like to invest juice boxes, is probably the safest play, the over, when it comes to Messi and for the remainder of the season.
Over in terms of goals scored, or
yeah, take the over in any of these
goals conceded.
Yeah. I mean, because and Jarrett was mentioning this, because if it's Messi and Busquets, and possibly, maybe certain, according to Marillo, Tata comes in, you're going to have to hang on to the ball, because otherwise folks are going to be beating you in transition, and you're going to have old dudes looking like traffic cones in short order. I mean, this could get off the rails pretty quick, unless you have somebody who believes in possession as one of their tenets of being the coach for Inter Miami going forward.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up their schedule now. Is there, as I glance down, you guys can probably answer quicker than I can look, but after he's expected to come in, is there another Atlanta matchup?
September 6th.
Oh, at Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, buddy. It's Mercedes-Benz. It's Joseph, and it's Tata coming back, and Messi.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That has 5-4 written all over it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and then I know that this will come as no surprise, but they are opening up Full House for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Atlanta goes to DRVP&K for Leagues Cup in late July. Then you've got regular season Charlotte. You've got regular season Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena. Then you come back and you host Nashville at the end of August. September, you go to LAFC. They need to play that one in the Rose Bowl. I'm sorry.
That's going to be amazing, too.
They can't, because of college football. They can't get an alternate venue. I don't think they can get into the Rose Bowl. They might be able to get into the Mausoleum. I don't think they can. So I think they're stuck at BMO Stadium, unless they play like out at Fontana or something. And they just
be too far?
Hey, just wherever you can find it.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you got to find a spot, but that's bigger than BMO Stadium, but I don't think one's available. Then you host Sporting. Then you go to Mercedes-Benz, September 16th. Joseph, Tata allegedly, Messi, and at Mercedes-Benz. And then obviously you've got another couple of home matches.
Probably no Almada, right?
Don't know. I mean, but the thing is, Ricky, with SoFi, is it wide enough? And that's the current issue.
Yeah.
And that's, why it wasn't really named as a venue as a part of LA. They know that they've got some work to do. They got to blow out some seats. They got to take out the rib spreader and go like this, and make sure that they can be a wide building. And it's woof, I mean, oh, brother, there's going to be some issues with some folks having to pay premium price for all of these tickets, man. I mean,
I will say this, if like the Apple TV subscription wasn't enough of that incentive for you to have season tickets, like now's the time. I mean, here's a question for you guys. Like, I don't know what I mean, I would go, I guess, to the match. So I'm not a great sort of businessman in terms of having a season ticket. But if you have a season ticket and you put your tickets on sale for the Miami match,
Jarrett.
Yeah. What do you want?
I know that there has been discussion amongst some of us here at the network.
Nick and I are going to fund a team by ourselves selling our tickets.
You can get a USL League One side out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We got plans.
Well, and the thing is, you're looking at
Locker Down Here FC.
Yes, exactly correct. Well, and the thing
Start a
is,
team in the Mongolian League.
yes, I mean, but the thing is that Dylan, Jarrett, and Nick have decent seats. I mean, this is not something where they're like up in the 300s or something like that, and they're off in a corner. They each have decent seats for their season tickets.
Yeah.
They could pay for their season tickets. They could pay for a League One franchise, and they could probably have something left over if they
Here's
decide.
what you can do. Like, this is what
Start a team in the Mongolian League.
I'm going to give you an example. It's slightly different than that, but first, here's what I would do if I were Jared. I would sell those. I would go to the best steakhouse in Atlanta. The match is going to be on, right?
Mhm.
Get myself a nice porterhouse, sit down, just enjoy, watch it all, and get the money going for my steak. That's going to be a tasty steak. Now, here's the example for you. Again, slightly different, right? So, flashback 1994, New York Rangers.
Okay.
Cup run.
Yep.
At the time, I was a college student, and we had a mini plan, but the mini plan gave you all of the playoff games, right? So I was up in the blue seats at the Garden, maybe a 12-game, 14-game regular season, whatever it was, but you had guaranteed that seat every game of the playoffs.
Okay.
So first round, Rangers, Islanders were outmatched. I went to game one because of all the pomp and circumstance around, the opening game and the excitement. Sold game two for a good enough price where now I can help pay for the second round. Second round comes in. I think it was the Capitals, beat them pretty handily as well.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing. I got that, and now I'm going to every game. It's the third and fourth round. So it's the Devils series, which game 7, right? Double overtime. Matteau. Was there for that. Was there for the cup. Now, they were supposed to, or they could have won the cup in game 5 at the Garden, right? Yeah. So again, I want to say I'm a sophomore in college, right? Don't have a car, don't drive.
And you're thinking about it like a sophomore in college.
So I get off the train, obviously in all my Ranger gear, and a guy's like, he's like, you selling? I go, nah, man, not selling. He's like $2,000 for your ticket. I'm a diehard, lifelong Ranger fan who's heard throughout his young life 1940, and I would have. There's no response to 1940. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go, yeah, well, back at you, Islander fan who won 4 cups in a row. Like, there's no response to 1940. I said, and the cup was going to be in the building, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, can't do it. Now, I could have taken that cash, next day bought myself a car, driven it to St. John's University, and been a very happy kid, except if they won. I would never, ever, ever be able to live that down had they won. So I go to the game. I pass up to $2,000. They lose the freaking game, which was the worst of all. They lose in Vancouver, and then game 7, I'm like, I don't even care. I don't care what your offer is. I am going to. There'll be tears in my eyes, win or lose, and obviously, it was a win. So.
See. This is what happens. I mean, right now we've got folks who are in the Twitch pitch, who right now Parzival is saying that theirs have gone from 140 to a suggested 1,600, and they're going. Emilio's is going for about 550. Michael Head tickets in his section are going for 600. Michael, turf is not the issue. It would be the back-to-back. That would be the issue. Turf is not a problem. He played on turf in Liga and in random spots in other competitions. It's not the turf that's the issue. It's the back-to-back. So keep an eye on that. Tickets in Michael's section going for 600. Michael says all the people buying $500 tickets are going to be pissed if Messi doesn't play. That is true.
He gets a calf injury at training. And he's out for a few weeks.
But then, but you've got people who, before the announcement by Jorge _Moss that, that Messi's not showing up until Leagues Cup. You had folks in D.C. buy 10,000 extra tickets. You had folks at Subaru Park in Chester buying tickets for the game this weekend, just on the off chance that Messi pops out of the Pope Mobile, goes like this, and hops back in the car and goes, under, the state under the stands in Chester, goes back over the bridge, heads to the airport, takes his plane, and goes wherever. I mean, it has been a boon for teams that have nowhere close to a sniff of seeing Lionel Messi play.
What are Atlanta approximately? What are Atlanta season tickets going for?
Whoa, Jarrett, since you are the season ticket holder, you would know better than I.
Oh God, I think so. Mine are right behind, like one section off from being directly behind the goal, opposite the supporter section, about fifth row off the field. And I think it's like $650 a pop for the season, maybe $700 a pop for the season.
That's not bad.
Yeah, Michael's. Yeah. So Michael heads, his were $1,500 each. I think Michael is more on the football sideline sides, where Jarrett's in the end zones. So
yeah, I'm right.
I've seen Messi play. I've been fortunate. I think I've seen him twice. I've seen him for Barcelona, and I've seen him for Argentina at MetLife when they lost, when he missed his PK in the Copa America Centenario final, and then he announced his international retirement, which of course he clearly backtracked from. So I mean, I would sell, but I've seen him. So
let's see. Ricky is in the corner in the 200s, opposite supporter section. His are around 600 each.
See, the thing is, like, even if he doesn't start, do you know what the pop is going to be? If he's, 50th, 60th minute, Messi gets off the bench and just starts warming up in the corner.
Oh, absolutely.
I saw it with Beckham, and it's going to be even more than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you're staring at with Messi and friends. When it comes to the matches tonight, which ones are in the Dylan Butler spot, Shadow?
Well, I mean, you certainly, I think the premier match is LAFC Seattle, right? Like, round one was a cagey 0-0, but there was some pushing and shoving, right? There were some handbags in there where, it felt like it was two teams who were like, listen, we are going to see you in the playoffs. So here's a little reminder, I'm going to go a little bit hard in this tackle, or, you can't come in on my keeper like that. I remember one with Aaron Long getting in the mix. So, yeah, I mean, I think that one certainly could be really interesting. I like a little bit of Houston, San Jose. That should be fun as well, right? Like two teams that are on the up. I don't know if both will be able to make the playoffs this year, but you would think it's a pretty good shot for one of those two to make the playoffs. So,
Jarrett, what do you think about your Quakes?
I told you, Jason and I discussed this. Like the Quakes, when early in the season, we're like, Quakes might be kind of weird, wacky, drunken good. No, they might actually just be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. They are.
Like not even just like in the fun, weird way like we kind of expected when Almeida was managing them. Like, no, they're just Lucci's got a plan.
Mm-hmm. So that'll
be. I think early match. I'm keeping an eye on that Atlanta New York City match as well, even though Giakoumakis is out. Those two teams always seem to play entertaining games throughout their history. So, and Orlando somehow has this like ownership of these pressing teams. Like if you press Orlando like a Red Bull or like Philly does, they seem to catch you. So that'll be interesting as well. But listen, I'm on for all of them. So I will. I'll have the 360 on and watching the whip around and getting my taste of all those matches.
Okay, so what's the latest with MLSsoccer.com and OSDB?
Yeah, with OSDB, I think this week after the Berhalter news kind of changed some of the plans. I was going to do a Leagues Cup. I think I told you last week I was going to do like a Leagues Cup sort of viewers guide. That now got postponed because of the wild and wacky with Berhalter. So this week we're going to start diving into the Women's World Cup, where we're about a month away or so, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start doing probably 4 stories leading up to it. Players to watch, teams to watch, matches to watch, and of course, we'll dive into the U.S. as well. By the way, just quick on Berhalter,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sure you guys have spoken about it ad nauseum. It's weird, man. Like, I mean, obviously it's weird, but like I was of two thoughts to this, right? Like, I thought he deserved the opportunity off of what he did in the World Cup to come back, and we've spoken about that, I think. And then everything happens, and they go to an interim. So it's not that I didn't think he deserved to be back. I just thought he wouldn't be back, right? Like
Well, but I mean, his contract hadn't, his contract had ended technically. So
yeah, he didn't get fired, right? They just didn't renew him,
right.
But I do think I do like the idea of him pushing this group forward. And listen, I feel like when you get Pulisic and others to tout his praises and say that they want him, then who are we to say no, right? Like, these are the guys who are leading the line. So I thought it was I think that's a good move, and obviously great showing in Vegas for the US.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. They go through Nations League, getting ready for Gold Cup, and that will definitely be it will be intriguing. And I feel like I should do this after I do intriguing. Put your pinky at the edge of your mouth, kind of like Dr. Evil, and see what it's going to look like. But
$1 million.
Exactly. What's the latest with Varsity Media? Are you in the off season?
Just about in the off season. Got a couple. There's like a Long Island lacrosse showcase tomorrow. 4 games. I'm doing the first 2. It's rising freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, Nassau versus Suffolk. Fun showcase event in Hofstra. And already starting to plan out the football season. I know yours comes earlier than ours.
Middle of August.
But the plans, yeah, we're ours. We'll start our coverage late August with preview shows, and then I think Labor Day weekend we kick off. So
there you go. So we'll be looking forward to it, because high school football will be here before we know it. We'll get to talk about that.
Seriously.
Dylan_Butler. Dylan, great as always to have you coming on Wall Pass Wednesdays to talk about everything on your mind when it comes to Major League Soccer. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch up next week.
All right, boys.
Dylan Butler. Oh, I forgot to ask. What's the mug?
Dad.
There we go. Okay. Yes.
Dad.
There we go. Dad nutritional facts, considering that the Father's Day has passed. Oh, how was Father's Day, by the way?
It was good. It was good. It was funny. I met the day before, was leaving, taking my daughter out to a 4-year-old birthday party, which are so fun and exciting.
They're just so fun, aren't they?
Yep. And
mine is 6, so I've been there.
FedEx guy shows up with the package. He's like, "Oh, your Father's Day gift came in time." I'm like, "All right, great, some Omaha steaks." So, yeah, gonna get them on the grill sooner than later, and cold beverage, sit outside, should be nice.
Smart play. All right. Well, so now that Dylan has made us all jealous of his Omaha steak shipment in the climate-controlled.
You're welcome out. Come on out to Long Island.
Styrofoam container. We'll catch up with you next week, my friend.
All right, guys.
All right. There's Dylan and Ricky with high school football down here. Dylan Raiola transferring to Buford, and now Buford has 3 of the top 10 prospects in the country, and one is throwing to another. Dylan Raiola, KJ Bolden. So I think that this makes Buford the number 1 favorite in 7A to win the state championship after getting knocked out in the playoffs earlier than they liked last season.
There's another Raiola too, isn't there?
Yes, there is, sir. There is
Jesus.
a younger Raiola, and that was part of the concern, is that you have Dylan and his younger brother, who I think is 2 years younger. And so For those that may not know, Dom Raiola, everybody remembers your offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. Dominic Raiola played, I want to say, 14 years in the NFL. And so he lives out in Arizona, or lived. And now he is deciding to bring the Throwing Raiola clan to this side of the Mississippi River, and they're going to be enrolling in Buford. And the concern in this was the undue influence rule, where you're trying to, if you're a governing body, it's like, okay, well, what is this school doing for you so you can bring your child/children from Arizona to Georgia to play high school football? Frankly, if Dom Raiola played 14 years in the National Football League, I think he's pretty safe financially. So I don't know if undue influence of a retired businessman, it can really fall under undue influence.
Pretty sure he's rocking that NFL pension too after 14 years.
Yeah, so I don't know if undue influence would apply here as it would in other cases that we have discovered here in the state of Georgia over the last handful of years that got some schools in trouble, had them blow out all of their wins, and end up with a big zero when it comes to wins and losses in a season.
So, I feel like it'd be really easy for him to say, "I'm independently wealthy.
Basically,
my son's going to go to school an hour and a half away from here,
mm-hmm.
and I want him to go to one of the better programs in the state to get ready to go to said school."
Correct.
No one's telling me to do this. I'm doing this for him because this is what we want to do.
Yes.
And I don't need a job anyway because I played for 14 years in the NFL.
Correct. And you turn into a pumpkin, yeah?
I do turn into a pumpkin.
All right. So Jarrett's Real World is intervening for the remainder of the show. And so Jarrett and Jason tonight on 92.9 The Game for Atlanta United and NYCFC. 7 o'clock is your pregame show. And countdown to kick is at 7. Kick is at 7:39. They will have a full post-game show after. I thought I saw on the timeline, this is, Jared has done stuff with the twos. He's done stuff, obviously, with the SDH network and things like that. He's sat in as a guest with the 92.9 coverage. So it'll be fun to have Jason and Jarrett in the booth tonight for 92.9 and Atlanta United and for NYC. Okay, so Michael Head has found his invoice. $1,660 total for both tickets. You probably could make that all back if you wanted to, but I know that Michael is going, and I know that a lot of you are going. So we were mentioning Omaha Steaks. Will is a fan of their seasonings. Steak seasonings, briskets, you use either Franklin's or Angelo's. Ricky, I would recommend it. Find a region game that's going to be over because you know that Buford is going to be boat racing a lot of folks. And find a game which you think you can get a ticket, get in the door, get there early, and because the game will be over early. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's high school football down here. And Dylan Raiola heading to Buford along with his younger brother. And so they had looked at another couple of schools in the Atlanta area, but with the pedigree that Buford has and being able to be basically maybe an hour away from Athens, very, very easy for Dylan Raiola to be continually having conversations, and for everyone else on this side of the Mississippi River to sit there and look at Dylan Raiola. And now that he's heading to Buford, the increased recruitment of Dylan Raiola starts right now. So there you go. And that came from Rusty Mansell and our friends at On3 Sports this morning. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Parzival says you're going the first time. After that, you're selling them. But yeah, to Will's point, Will's going to wait until like next year, and so that way he's going to go to either Atlanta or Nashville. So believe it or not, schedule release day 2024 will be the day really to get in the queue to get season tickets for your favorite team and try and get in the queue for Lionel Messi, either coming to your place or getting season tickets at a jacked up rate to go see him at Inter Miami. So keep an eye on all that stuff. So Jarrett and Jason tonight on 92.9 The Game. Looking forward to that as Mike is attending to a family wedding. And so he'll be back, and it'll be Mike and Jason this weekend at Red Bull Arena. And it'll be me and Jason for the unified match. That'll be on ATLUTD.com earlier in the afternoon near the 7:39 kick. So it'll be really fun. The first trip of the unified team to Red Bull Arena and to the New York area. And so we'll have the unified game on the website for Atlanta United in the afternoon. Mike and Jason, 7:39 kick for Atlanta United and Red Bulls on Saturday. Yeah, really, Will. I probably should drop by and get some of Dylan's steak while he's there. Just grab it and just run away with it and have it shipped home. Let's see. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. And we also got stuff to watch. Yes, before our – yes. Yeah, and yes, Atlanta United 2 on Sunday. NYC FC 2 is coming to the Fraction, so that is 5 o'clock on 5 o'clock at the Fraction, kickoff shortly thereafter, pregame show before 5 o'clock here on the SDH Network. And Jason will have the call for that. All right, what to watch today? Soccer on TV. 12 MLS games. We know all of those. The U21s, and for those that didn't hear the announcement, Golasso Network and CBS Sports / Paramount Plus are going to be running the Euro 2024 U21 tournament action. And on CBS Sports Network at noon, it is Belgium and the Netherlands, FS2, with a Canadian Premier League doubleheader at 7 and 10. York United, Halifax, Pacific, and Valor. And once again, running down who's going to be doing what where tonight on MLS. Atlanta United NYC is on the free side of Apple TV. Cincinnati Toronto is on season pass. Montreal Nashville, Red Bulls, and Charlotte on the free side. Orlando City Philly, Austin FC, FC Dallas, that's on season pass. Houston, San Jose on the free side. All Caps and RSL on season pass. Colorado, Vancouver at 9:30 on the free side. Portland, Chicago at 10:30 on the free side. Galaxy and Sporting and LAFC in Seattle are on season pass. MLS Next Cup quarterfinals underway right now. FC Delco and South Florida Football Academy in the U19s. That's going on right now on season pass. And the U17s with Total Football Academy and LAG. That is going to be on at 11:30. Golasso Network has a triple header of Euro U21s. Georgia, Portugal at noon. Romania, Spain at 2:45. Ukraine and Croatia at 6 o'clock. On the Plus, tonight, Lou City and FC Kaiserslautern. How's that for a friendly? 8 o'clock. USL Championship, you've got 3 games. RGV Colorado Springs, Birmingham Legion, and Loudoun United. Congratulations to Dominique Wilkins to be added to the investment group for Birmingham Legion. Memphis and Tulsa is at 8 o'clock. The irony of the Philip Goodrum trade is not lost on any of us. USL League One, 7:30, Greenville and Chattanooga. Chattanooga had a head coaching change. They are next to last in the standings right now in League One. They let Ziggy Korytoski go. Jimmy Weekly takes back over for the Red Wolves. Omaha and Knoxville is at 8. Paramount Plus, the Primera in Argentina at 6 and 8:30. Estudiantes, San Lorenzo, and Central Cordoba and Gimnasia La Plata is at 8:30. Brasileiro is packed. Doubleheader at 6, Cruzeiro Fortaleza, Sao Paulo, and Atlético Paranaense. Santos Corinthians at 7, Bahia Palmeiras at 8:30. Fluminense Atlético Mineiro at 8:30 as well. And VIX has a triple header at noon in the U21s and the Euros, Romania, Spain at 2:45. So that's your viewing habits for today. George Bello posted on his Instagram that he left Arminia Bielefeld. When you get relegated back-to-back, you can do that, I think. So there is some interest for some teams in England in the second division. So let's see if that sticks for George Bello. The Arminia Bielefeld experiment did not go as Bello and his family and his reps had planned. So hopefully George Bello can find a good home and get some playing time first and foremost for his career to continue to go forward. But yeah, Arminia Bielefeld and George Bello separating after 2 straight relegations. And, Abby, thank you. 7:30 kick for Atlanta United 2 on Sunday. So pregame show 7:15-ish on the network. I thought it was at 5, but okay. Hey, I'll take the 7:30. The Boston Owl will be flying back at that point. So pregame show will be a little different. The postgame show might be pretty quick for Atlanta United 2 this weekend with NYCFC coming to town. It's the only home game in a 6-game stretch. They played 3 on the road. They come back for this one, and now they've got 2 more on the road after this. So, yes. And Will, we are all excited for some Hunt City action at the Fraction coming soon. Return of Jack Collison. And by the way, you can get your action at the Fraction gear on the website. So go to soccerdownhere.net and click on the gear banner, and you can get your action at the Fraction gear, by the way, any chance that you want. So, and you can get it various ways, and shirts and sleeves and things like that, various lengths. So, yeah, you can get your action at the Fraction gear on the website at soccerdownhere.net. Yes. Definitely the hope is that George Bello can get connected with a quality team and get some playing time. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get into actual signings and things that have happened today. Once again, remember, tomorrow is going to be 11:05. Nico should join us at 10:30 to get his views of what happens late night in Seattle with what happened on the West Coast. So Nico should be joining us at 10:30. And then Friday's show will be from a hotel room in New Jersey. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there with the travel. But yeah, Friday's show will be from a hotel room in New Jersey as we get ready for the weekend. Fulham wants to sign Fred from Manchester United. Everton interested in a move for Crystal Palace keeper Sam Johnstone. If Jordan Pickford leaves the club, it's from the 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Leicester City want more than £50 million for English midfielder James Maddison amid interest from Tottenham and Newcastle. Manchester City close to agreeing to personal terms with RB Leipzig's defender Josko Vardiol. They're also close to signing Mateo Kovacic. Looks like Ilkay Gundogan might be heading to Barcelona after all. The bid was submitted for Kovacic for $25 million. Chelsea's had a lot of stuff going on. We'll get caught up with that. Arsenal made an improved offer of $60 million for Kai Havertz. That looked like that got over the finish line early this morning before the show started. West Ham are, quote, far from impressed, end quote, with the lack of progress in negotiations with Arsenal over the move for Declan Rice. West Ham wants a boatload of money, and Arsenal isn't quite to the same size boat that West Ham wants. Arsenal will return with a third offer for Rice, and West Ham is holding out for a minimum of £100 million. That's from the 4-letter paper. So look for something 85 and 15 is what I think they're looking at from any suitor. Newcastle United have made a bid of about €50 million for AC Milan's Sandro Tonali. Nick is not happy about it. You could probably follow along on his social media and get his true responses. Also targeting the signing of German forward Deri Scherhant from Hertha Berlin. But they are also considering ending their interest in Inter Milan midfielder Nicolo Barella. Manchester United have also made contact over a possible move with Barella. Manchester United, Newcastle, latest clubs to show an interest in Gambian U20 forward Adama Boyong, who plays for Steve Biko FC. Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool have all made attempts to sign Real Madrid's midfielder Fede Valverde this summer. Arsenal have held talks with Southampton over Romeo Lavia. Chelsea have had an opportunity to snatch the signing of Lavia this week as Arsenal are focused on Declan Rice. Arsenal could make a move for Amadou Onana, with the midfielder saying that he wants to leave Everton. PSG want to offload Gigi Wijnaldum this summer. Spent last season on loan at Roma. Fulham want £90 million for Palhinha amid interest from West Ham. That's from the 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Leeds United's winger Crescencio Somerville is wanted by Everton and Feyenoord. They've ruled out appointing Carlos Corberan as their new manager. Looks like Patrick Vieira might be the leader in the clubhouse. Palace want Roy Hodgson to stay on as manager. And Wrexham, 3-letter paper, Wrexham are lining up a move for former Manchester United forward Nick Powell after the 29-year-old's release by Stoke. So keep an eye on all of those moves. Let's see what the papers and the other sources of our information. Arsenal's close to a Havertz agreement, according to our friends at Sky. So it's not over the finish line yet. 65 million is what you're looking at. Manchester United's 50 million pound move for Mason Mount has been rejected. N'Golo Kante has joined Al-Ittihad. Chelsea has sealed the Christopher Nkunku deal for 52 million pounds. Manchester United optimistic on a new deal for Marcus Rashford, and they want to rival Arsenal for Declan Rice. Manchester City, it's 30 million for Kovacic, not 25. Kyle Walker says he wants to stay, despite Bayern Munich being interested, and Pep Guardiola has ruled out a move for Kylian Mbappe. Let's see. Current Saudi deals. Kante to Al-Ittihad. Edouard Mendy is in advanced talks with Al-Ahly. Kalidou Koulibaly is in talks with Al-Hilal. Hakim Ziyech is close to an agreement with Al-Nassr. Ruben Neves has agreed to a 47 million pound deal with Al-Hilal. So it's been a very, very busy summer there. Dutch keeper Bart Verbruggen has reaffirmed his desire to play in the Premier League, and amid Brighton's reported interest in the player, he's currently a keeper at Anderlecht. 20-year-old currently set to represent his country at the U21s in Europe. And personal terms are in place for Kai Havertz, not expected to be a problem. Roma had finalized the signing of center back Evan Ndika. He was available as a free after failing to agree with terms with Eintracht Frankfurt on a new contract. The France U21 international had been with Frankfurt since the summer of 2018, part of the team that won Europa League, also being named Bundesliga Team of the Season in that campaign. Heung-min Son has officially turned down any kind of a move to Saudi Arabia. Watford had signed striker Reece Healey from Toulouse on a 2-year deal. 3-year stint with the French club, scored 39 goals in twice as many matches as the team earned promotion to Ligue 1. Spent 2 years with the former team that was in Wimbledon that moved to the suburbs, and he started his professional career with Cardiff, loan spells at 4 other places. According to Talk Sport, is the Gundogan news with Barcelona, where he is set to leave Manchester City. Contract expires at the end of the month. Pep and Manchester City chairman Khaldoun Al-Mubarak both want Gundogan to stay. Barcelona have offered a 2-year deal plus another's option at the Camp Nou. Burnley have agreed to sign Dara O'Shea from West Brom. They'll have a medical at Turf Moor on Thursday. It just seems like Mason Mount's deals just continue to be rejected. First one was 45-5. Chelsea countered with 60-5. No agreement, according to David Ornstein, but the world is getting closer when it comes to all of these folks. Genoa interested in taking on Jean-Philippe Mateta from Crystal Palace on loan, scored 2 Premier League goals for the Eagles last year. Let's see if there's anything else when it comes to moves. Al-Nassr have offered around 18 million euro for Inter Milan midfielder Marcelo Brozovic, according to Sky Italia. He's got a contract at the San Siro until 2026. And so you have all of that to keep an eye on as well. So let's check the papers and see if there's anything else that we have missed this morning. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we've got to get into the Euros, and we've got to get into CONCACAF and get you set up for all of that. Plenty of sponsor news and papers news, avoiding the 3 and the 4-letter paper as we traditionally do when it comes to all of the news. We mentioned the Fred news at the Telegraph. Sir Alex Ferguson has backed the campaign to make dementia in football an industrial injury. We'll keep an eye on that. Eddie Howe is targeting Hertha's Derry Sherhunt. Crystal Palace considering a £20 million move for Norwich defender Andrew Omobamidele. Mentioned Somerville. Crystal Palace have considered candidates, including Graham Potter, for their managerial job, still expected to persuade Roy Hodgson to stay. England are still waiting to find out where September's Euro qualifier against Ukraine will be hosted for obvious reasons. Daily Express, Benfica in talks with Wolves to keep forward Gonzalo Guedes on loan for another year. And we mentioned the price tag on Paulinia. Crystal Palace and Fulham have been offered a chance to sign Astor Vranckx from Wolfsburg. Roma interested in taking Gianluca Scamacca from West Ham and take him back to Italy. The Athletic, David Ornstein, Nottingham Forest keen on a reunion with goalkeeper Dean Henderson. Brendan Rodgers has been handed a £30 million transfer kitty to satisfy his ambitions for Scotland and Europe. And in lower divisions, Bolton have made a move, or have made an Australian international one of their top summer targets. So you've got all of that to look at. In CONCACAF, you've got your schedule. Your schedule for the Gold Cup is getting closer and closer to getting all laid out. So you have group stage coming up starting on Saturday, 9:30, with all of the action that happened yesterday. All of the matches in the second round of the preliminary had rain delays and lightning delays in Fort Lauderdale. Who knew? Guyana lost 2-0. Martinique beat Puerto Rico 2-0. And St. Kitts and Nevis won in penalties 4-2 after going 1-1 after tying French Guiana after 90 minutes. So after 90 minutes, they go to penalties, and St. Kitts and Nevis works their way through out of the preliminary round into the group stage. So group stage, you have USA and Jamaica. That's at Soldier Field Saturday night at 9:30. Sunday, very, very busy day across the board. Trinidad, Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis. NRG Stadium has Haiti and Qatar. Mexico and Honduras is the back end of the doubleheader at NRG Stadium, probably closer to 8:30 than it would be 8 o'clock as it's listed. El Salvador, Martinique is on Monday in Fort Lauderdale, followed by Costa Rica and Panama, and that gets you into your group standings. Group A, St. Kitts and Nevis, Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, and the United States. Group B is now Honduras, Haiti, Qatar, and Mexico. Group C, Panama, El Salvador, Martinique, and Costa Rica. Group D, Guatemala, Canada, Cuba, and Guadeloupe. So we'll keep an eye on that. Group B, Mexico. We'll keep an eye on Mexico with what they've got. Mexico, Qatar, Haiti, and Honduras. It's set up for Mexico to succeed, but can they succeed? That's the big question in all of this. Will Mexico be in a position to succeed, being put in a group where they should be able to do some things and get things done? So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Let's see. Let's check the Twitters before we go with a lot of the heavyweights and our tier one sources here, and find out if there's been any other movement when it comes to folks and tournaments and discussions and all of this. So this morning, the Havertz deal, according to Ben Jacobs, worth a little over 65, slightly over 60, forming a guaranteed fee. Total fee, if all paid, may end up being £67.5 million. Arsenal always felt the price would drop, according to Jacobs. Chelsea's delighted with the package. The move suits all parties. Havertz clear he wanted to go to Arsenal, and Chelsea's glad that they got him off the books. We mentioned the Ndika signing. It's a 5-year deal with Roma, the 23-year-old defender. It's regarded as a good piece of business there. Toni Kroos has extended his Real Madrid contract to 2024. So Toni Kroos will be there and continue to roll. We go from 45 to 50 to 60 plus 5 with Manchester United and Mason Mount. So today's signings, Chelsea. This is Chelsea alone. Chelsea alone today. N'Golo Kante announced at Al-Ittihad. Mateo Kovacic to Manchester City. Done deal. $30 million. Mendy, a verbal agreement with Al-Ahly. Koulibaly, a verbal agreement with Al-Hilal. Hakim Ziyech, a verbal agreement with Al-Nassr. And then the Kai Havertz deal. So 6 outbound today for Chelsea. 6 outbound today. And Ricky lets everybody know that the word is officially out with Atlanta United, Brennan and Firmino getting their short-term agreements. And to Jason's point in hour number 1, I mean, we talked about Luke Brennan and Nicholas Firmino yesterday, but once again to reinforce, you're looking at Luke Brennan, who we've seen with Atlanta United too all season long, saw him not intimidated by his surroundings against Deportivo Toluca in the second half of AmFam Cup 2. Nicholas Firmino has shown that with what he has been able to do in the scoring column for Atlanta United 2, that he deserved a look. So he and Luke Brennan get your looks in the short-term agreement. And as Jason said, they could get cups of coffee tonight if the game is in control. So we'll see what happens with Luke Brennan and with Nicholas Firmino tonight. Looking forward to seeing how that continues to grow and evolve when it comes to how different things are going to look for Atlanta United tonight. Once again, you've got those names that are out, but once again, as Jason went through the lineup, looks like a pretty solid. I mean, it's a pretty solid bunch with what you've got at the back. I know that you're looking at Noah Cobb. With the wings, is it Hernandez Lennon? Is that what you're staring at there? Caleb Wiley on the wing, and then Miguel Berry up top. But then once again, if the match is in control, then you've got the opportunity for Luke Brennan and for Nicholas Firmino possibly to get some run, because once again you're trying to manage minutes for the guys that you have that you're playing tonight, in the hopes that you can manage their minutes with a game in control and then have them ready for however many minutes you may need them this weekend at Red Bull Arena. So, all of these different things that are in play here, but looking forward to seeing what you're looking at when it comes to the short-term agreement, the lineup tonight, going up against NYC. Dangerous offensively up top, but can be had. We all know how difficult it is to win in Major League Soccer on the road. So how does NYC come out tonight? How do they respond, and how do they look? Questions at the back, firepower at the front. So we'll see what happens with NYC tonight. Looking forward to seeing how all of that gets laid out. The names that were mentioned on the Today Show this morning, we're still waiting for the official announcement of announcements when it comes to, so this is roster reveal day, but Lynn Williams, Christy Mewis, Kelly O'Hara. Gotham made a big announcement as we got on the air this morning that they were going to be heading to the World Cup. So that was so at 10:30. So at 11:30, according to the women's national team official Twitter account, 11:30 is when they're going to announce the squad for the World Cup. So 11:30. Set your alerts appropriately. Lynn Williams, Christy Mewis, Kelly O'Hara in as they visited the Today Show and got interviewed by Savannah, Hoda, Al, and Carson Daly. So that's your early part for those three. And we'll keep an eye on the rest of it. Kelly O'Hara makes her fourth World Cup. Fourth World Cup for Kelly O'Hara. Very, very cool stuff there. So now you wonder who's in. With the injuries, we know that there will be some folks that will not be a part of the process. You wonder about Alyssa Thompson. Something in that vein. So you literally do wonder what's it going to look like? Who's in? And then who's the question? Who's out? That's the larger question. Who is out? Who's going to be left to who's going to be left to be a part of that process? Who's going to be left out as the World Cup is coming up around the corner? So we'll keep an eye on all of that stuff going forward. And so looking at all of that, busy day. Busy day across the board. A lot of action going on with Atlanta United, with Major League Soccer. It's a full it's a full run. Once again, remember, man in the middle tonight, John Freeman. ARs, Ian McKay, Walt Heatherly. Your fourth is Sergei Demyanchuk. Your VAR, Soren Stoichka. Your AVAR is Jonathan Johnson. So we'll keep an eye on all of that on a very, very busy day. Busy day in MLS. Busy day in the lower divisions. Busy day for the women's national team. Busy day in the U21s. Where is it not busy? I don't know. It certainly is not in this hemisphere. So looking forward to Jason and Jarrett tonight on the air, and looking forward to all that on 92.9 The Game. Get you through the action tonight, and we will talk about it all tomorrow. So it is 9:05 tomorrow, hard out at 11:05 because your man's got to catch a plane and head to New York. But once again, show on Friday will be done in a hotel room in New Jersey. We'll do the weekend whip around there, and we'll talk about Red Bulls, and we'll talk about NYC tomorrow. So everything is on the table tomorrow. Just we'll rock and roll as we always do. Since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do one thing. Much applause to y'all. Thanks to Jason. Thanks to Dylan Butler. And thanks to you for being a part of it as always. So once again, 11:30. Set your notifications. Women's national team getting ready for Australia, New Zealand. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about Atlanta United tomorrow. Since it's the end of the show, much applause to y'all. It means I get to do this. We'll see you in 22 hours.